Dear friends and students, you are listening to the book Glimpses of World History by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Chapter 30, The Borderland Empire of the Kushans. April 11th, 1932. I have told you in my last letter of the repeated Saka and Turki invasions of India. I have also told you of the growth of a powerful Andhra state in the south, stretching from the Bay of Bengal to the Arabian Sea. The Sakas were driven forward by the Kushans, and sometime later, these Kushans themselves appeared on the scene. In the 1st century before Christ, they established a state on the Indian borderland, and this state grew into a great empire. This Kushan Empire extended down to Benares and the Vindhya mountains in the south, and to Kashgar and Yarkand and Khotan in the north, and the borders of Persia and Parthia in the west. Thus the whole of northern India, including the United Provinces, Punjab and Kashmir, and a good bit of Central Asia, were under the Kushan rulers. This empire lasted for nearly 300 years, just about the time when the Andhra state flourished in South India. The Kushan capital at first seems to have been Kabul. Later, it was shifted to Peshawar, or Purushapura as it was called, and there it remained. This Kushan Empire is interesting in many ways. It was a Buddhist empire, and one of its famous rulers, the Emperor Kanishka, was ardently devoted to the Dharma. Near Peshawar, the capital, was Takshashila, which had for a long time been a center of Buddhist culture. The Kushans, as I think I have told you, were Mongolians, or allied to them. From the Kushan capital, there must have been a continuous coming and going to the Mongolian homelands, and Buddhist learning and Buddhist culture must have gone to China and Mongolia. In the same way, Western Asia must have come into intimate touch with Buddhist thought. Western Asia had been under Greek rule since Alexander's day, and large numbers of Greeks had brought their culture to it. This Greek Asiatic culture mingled now with Indian Buddhist culture. Thus, China and Western Asia were influenced by India. But in the same manner, India was also influenced by them. The Kushan Empire sat, like a colossus, astride the back of Asia, in between the Greco-Roman world on the west, the Chinese world in the east, and the Indian world in the south. It was a halfway house both between India and Rome, and India and China. As you might expect, this central position helped to bring about close intercourse between India and Rome. The Kushan period corresponded with the last days of the Roman Republic, when Julius Caesar was alive, and the first 200 years of the Roman Empire. It is said that the Kushan emperor sent a great embassy to Augustus Caesar. Trade flourished both by land and sea. Among the articles which were sent by India to Rome were perfumes, spices, silks, brocades, muslins, cloth of gold, and precious stones. A Roman author named Pliny actually complained bitterly of the drain of gold from Rome to India. He said that these luxuries cost the Roman Empire 100 million sesterces annually. This would be about 1.5 crore of rupees or £1 million sterling. During this period, there was great debate and argument in the Buddhist monasteries and at the meetings of the Sangha. New ideas or old ideas in novel attire were coming from the south and the west, and the simplicity of Buddhist thought was being gradually affected. This process of change went on till it resulted in Buddhism splitting up into two sections, called the Mahayana the great vehicle, and the Hinayana, little vehicle. And as the outlook on life and religion changed with the new interpretations and ideas, the manifestations of these ideas in art and architecture also changed. It is not easy to say how these changes were brought about. Perhaps there were two main influences which both tended to deflect Buddhist thought in the same direction: Brahmanic and Hellenic. Buddhism was, I have told you several times, a revolt against caste and priestcraft and ritualism. Gautama did not approve of image worship. He did not claim to be a god to be worshipped. He was the enlightened one, the Buddha. In accordance with this ideology, Buddha was not represented in images, and the architecture of those days avoided all images. But the Brahmins wanted to bridge the gap between Hinduism and Buddhism and were always trying to introduce Hindu ideas and symbolism into Buddhist thought. And the craftsmen from the Greco-Roman world were also used to making images of the gods. Thus, gradually, images crept into the Buddhist shrines. To begin with, they were not of the Buddha, but of the Bodhisattvas, who in Buddhist tradition are said to be previous incarnations of Buddha. The process continued till Buddha himself was depicted in images and worshipped. The Mahayana school of Buddhism approved of these changes. It was nearer to the Brahman way of thinking. The Kushan emperors accepted the Mahayana school and helped it to spread. But they were by no means intolerant of the Hinayana school or even of other religions. Kanishka is said to have encouraged Zoroastrianism also. It is interesting to read of the great debates that used to take place between the learned about the relative merits of Mahayana and Hinayana. Huge gatherings of the Sangha used to be held for this purpose. Kanishka held a general assembly of the Sangha in Kashmir. The debates and the controversy on this question lasted many hundreds of years. Mahayana triumphed in northern India, Hinayana in the south, till both of them in India were absorbed by Hinduism. Today, the Mahayana form of Buddhism exists in China, Japan, and Tibet. The Hinayana exists in Ceylon and Burma. The art of a people is a true mirror of their minds. And so, as the simplicity of early Buddhist thought gave place to elaborate symbolism, even so Indian art became more and more elaborate and ornate. In particular, the Mahayana sculpture of the Northwest, in Gandhara, was full of elaboration of statuary and ornament. Even the Hinayana architecture could not keep itself wholly untouched by this new phase, and it lost gradually the restraint and simplicity of its earlier style and took to rich carving and symbolism. There are a few monuments of this period with us still. The most interesting are some of the beautiful frescoes at Ajanta. We shall now bid goodbye to the Kushans. But remember this: like the Sakas and other Turki peoples, the Kushans hardly came to India or ruled over India as aliens governing a conquered country. The bond of religion tied them to India and her people. But besides this, they adopted the principles of government of the Aryan people in India. And because they fitted in with the Aryan system to a large extent, they succeeded in ruling northern India for nearly 300 years. Dear friends and students, you were listening to the book Glimpses of World History by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe the channel. Let's meet in the next episode.